All right, let's start with the big story that we are tracking at this hour, where protests against Vedanta's Sterlite copper unit in India's South Indian state of Tamil Nadu's Tuticorin took a violent turn yesterday, with at least about 11 people being killed in police firing. Now, defending the tough crackdown on the mob by the police, Chief Minister Edapadi Palaniswamy has said that the police had to resort to firing to avoid what he has described as unavoidable circumstances after repeated provocations by the protesters. However, the visuals that you in fact see on your screens are extremely chilling and tell a completely different tale of police brutality, where the police can be seen firing to kill. Now, you can also see as to how Tamil Nadu policemen in plain clothes, these are not even dressed in the police uniforms, but rather in civil clothes, have climbed on top of a police bus. Now, they're both armed with what appears to be an assault rifle, and then are seen taking aim at the crowd, almost like expert commandos. Now, one of the policemen can even be seen firing shots, though so far it is not clear whether anyone was hit in the shots that were in fact being aimed. Remember, Tuticorin's residents have been demanding the closure of the Sterlite plant, citing that the pollution that it generates has been causing serious health hazards. Now, the agitation against Sterlite copper has escalated after the company had announced the expansion of its unit in the city. All right, now as the politics is heating up in the South Indian state of Tamil Nadu after the protest, opposition leaders are stepping up the pressure on the state government. A judicial probe has now been ordered, and here's a report for more as to what is happening in Tuticorin.
Black smoke billowed out from the site of the deadly clash near the copper smelter plant in Tuticorin. Hours after tens of thousands of people clashed with police near Vedanta's Sterlite plant, questions were being asked on how the protests could go out of control and whether the police action was justified. The government expressed sympathy for the protesters but also defended the police action.
Based on the judgment, we never give permission. Again, when actually Sterlite went to the appellate tribunal, we strongly objected. Our Additional Brigade General on 4th May strongly objected that we never allow Sterlite in Tamil Nadu.
Officials say the protesters threw stones, set vehicles on fire and smashed the windows of government buildings and a bank. Many people were injured by the rampaging mob, but following the deaths, it is the state government that is now under fire. Superstar Rajnikant and actor-turned-politician Kamal Haasan have come out in support of the protest. Opposition DMK leader MK Stalin also has hit out. Congress leader Rahul Gandhi called it state-sponsored terrorism as he defended the people's protests. The agitation against the copper smelter plant has been going on for the last 100 days. In March, Tuticorin had come to a virtual standstill after farmers and fishermen announced a bandh to protest the proposed doubling of the smelter's capacity to 800,000 tons a year. In April, the Tamil Nadu Pollution Control Board cancelled the plant's license, saying it violated environmental laws. Locals say the plant has been polluting groundwater and seawater, affecting their lives and livelihoods. With the agitation now turning deadly, pressure mounts on the Vedanta group, and it remains to be seen if it would meet the same fate as the Tatas in Singur and POSCO in Odisha. Bureau Report, WION.
All right, so some chilling scenes were in fact witnessed as the police tried to control the protests yesterday in Tuticorin. And to discuss more on this, we're joined in by our political affairs editor Kartikeya Sharma. Good morning to you, Kartikeya. This is a clear example of how a crowd and a protest is not to be managed, and clearly the police went well beyond their mandate yesterday.
I think, it also goes on to show that political resistance or the popular resistance is not only political in countries like India. The popular resistance against crony capitalism, political parties, state institutions, environmental issues can be popular and earthy in nature. Now, if you look at the Kudankulam protests, it was against the nuclear power plant. It was a popular protest. Or Narmada Bachao Andolan, it was a popular protest. Or for some example, though later it got, I would say, hijacked by other political parties, Anna Hazare agitation, it was a popular protest. Nandigram against Tata factory, though later it was again co-opted by TMC, but the first reaction was very, very popular. It stemmed from villagers who felt that the land should not be taken away. So in this case, it's about a company where the people felt that it's polluting the environment and the protest is popular. But the larger issue is that, first of all, how come thousands and thousands of people were allowed to gather? One. Secondly, you are not supposed to shoot people above the waistline.
Correct.
So, there are rules of engagement when it comes to shooting, preventive shooting. Police is allowed to shoot, but there are rules of engagement. You are not supposed to fire to kill people. You are supposed to fire to disable them so that they do not create more violence. No one was shot in the leg. People have been shot in the chest or back.
Karthika, if I can just interrupt you there. These visuals that we've got on the screens, these are extremely chilling. Now, in fact, if we can get the visuals back on air. Now, this is clearly policemen on top in civil clothing who are aiming, shooting. It does not look like they're trying to contain the crowd. There are other ways of doing it. They could have used water cannons, they could have used tear gas canisters, but that has not been resorted to. What we are looking at is police resorting to a tactic where they're shooting to kill, and this is simply unacceptable.
This is very, very disturbing. This is disturbing not only because the people have died. It is disturbing because these are conceived shots. These are planned shots. It's like sniper firing.
Correct.
He's looking for people so that he can shoot them down. And I think it is for this reason that Madras High Court today will look into an appeal on the Sterlite firing which has taken place. But right now what has happened is that it has become a sort of a political ring for various political leaders to monetize this tragedy. Like, for example, you had regional party leaders going to the spot, cancelling their function. Stalin is going. Rahul Gandhi has tweeted and says that this has happened because our BJP and RSS do not respect the Tamil sentiment. So everything has acquired a political turn, but the fact of the matter is the resistance was on the environmental issues.
Correct. And also, Karthikeya, considering as to how protests actually pan out in India. Now, these thousands and thousands of people, there was prohibitory orders which had in fact been enforced. There was Section 144, but despite that, thousands of people gathered. But they were protesting because they felt that this Sterlite plant was actually contaminating the groundwater on which they were relying for their day-to-day necessities. Do you think some justice will be done in this, or will this now be turned into a political mudslinging match?
See, if you look at the history, the power plant was closed, then opened again, and then again closed. So it just shows that how industry can somehow, in name of creating jobs, subvert the local rights, local say, and environment. And this is a classic example of that.
Absolutely, indeed. We'll have to leave it there. Thank you very much indeed, Karthikeya Sharma, for joining us and getting us all those latest updates. We'll, of course, keep tracking this story as it unfolds in the small town of Tuticorin in Tamil Nadu.